Hi, welcome. Today I'm going to show you this bed that I made last year. It houses 28 different rhododendron and azaleas and some other plants who like acid soil. So I'll tell you a bit about why I made it, where I made it, how I made it, and what's in it, and hopefully what it's gonna look like in a while. And of course later on I will update you on how it will look like. So I'm looking forward to this. This will be the first year that I will hopefully see blooms. So welcome and tag along. Okay, maybe you don't see the exact entire layout, but this bed is shaped like a diamond. It's what is it, a pentagram? One, two, yeah, kind of a pentagram, uneven. So it's deeper than it's as deep as it is wide at its widest place. But then it narrows as it goes back towards the western side. So it's 3 meters at the back. It's 5 meters across where it's the most wide, and then it goes back and it's about 4 meters at the edge. And then in front of this is another bed that I will tell you more about at another time. So this is the first in a series where I will tell you about all the beds that I have created so far, and of course the beds that I will continue to create. I have several projects ongoing. This is not the first bed I created, but it's one of the first more ambitious beds that I created. So I will make a tour of each of the beds that I've made so far, and each of the beds that I'm in the process of making, and some that I have planned but not started making yet. And as you can see, this is, as I said, I created this last year. It's just a half year since I planted these plants. So it will need a couple of years to really get into its own. But this series is about orienting you in my garden, naming all the beds, getting to know their locations and so forth. And then my plan for this channel is to walk around the beds one at a time as the seasons progress, and let you tag along and see how they look and when they look their finest and so forth, and how I take care of them and so forth. So that's my plan for this channel. And as I said, this is not the first bed I started, but it's one of the first, and I thought this would be a good place to start. I'll just give you a short background as well. This is actually where I grew up. I'm 56 years old. I'm turning 57 actually. I haven't lived here all my life, but I grew up here. When I was small, my father he was a garden enthusiast. And that meant a lot of work for me. So I spent my youth running around here with a bit of a panic actually, trying to get everything perfect, because he was a bit of a perfectionist. And I didn't like it at all. It turned me off on gardening completely. And then my wife and we moved back here 20 years plus ago. And at first I tried to just keep up with old habits, but then one day my wife told me, you can't keep doing this. You're burning yourself out and you don't find any joy in it. And I was totally panicked, because I thought, I just can't let it be. It has to be as it has always been. And it was really hard for me to let it go. And in the end, I told my wife that, okay, if you want me to ease up, I have to let it go completely. And I won't be able to even look out anymore, because I can't see the least imperfection will send me into a panic. I can't stand it. So I'll just have to look away, and then you decide how much you want, how much work you are willing to put in yourself, and then you just keep it any way you want it. And as the years have progressed from there, it's about 15 years ago now. My wife has mowed the lawn, that's it. So this garden has slowly turned into a wasteland with weeds everywhere. No beds, hardly any lawn anymore. Wild trees, brushes everywhere. So 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, I had a bit of a health problem, and it ended up with me being home from work about 6 months. But I quickly started to feel better, and that's when I started to work in the garden. And I've put in so much work just getting rid of all the weeds, and then just started to actually make new beds. But this time it's my garden, so it's just a labor of love. Oh, that was a bit of a long-winded introduction, but anyway, this is the west part of the back garden. I had started to make a couple of other beds, but then I had this area. The sun starts from over there at about 10 o'clock maybe, and then it moves this way, and then it gets shaded a bit by some trees over there behind you, then it comes back again, and then depending on the season it stays up, but then eventually it gets shaded again at some time in the afternoon, in the evening. So this is half shaded, the area, and it differs between the back and the front. The front gets more sun than the back. And I asked the lady at my local nursery what she thought that I could make of this, and she immediately suggested rhododendrons. And I said, I don't have the soil for that. And then we made quite an ambitious plan for how to turn this into a rhododendron bed. So I will show you before and after pictures as I talk. This entire area was covered by, well, first of all, the pine over there. I don't know if you see it. There was a giant stand of pines. And it's just amazing how large they were, and they stretch from the corner there and way up until where the wall starts. And their habit was completely mounding, so there was just pines, a big mound of pines, covering half of this side of the garden. And underneath the pines there was just tons and tons of ivy everywhere. Ivy coming in from the sides like an invasion. It was everywhere, under the hedge over there, all the way here, all the way along the fence up there, and so forth, all over the shed I have here. And that ivy had been there for 50 years. Also, this was completely covered with long grass. In that grass were 30 or so wild sown trees of some mysterious kind that had gotten about yay high all over here. And also at the bottom of the former lawn there was a deep mat of a certain kind of weed. I will put the name up on the screen for you. In Swedish it's called kirskål. It's edible actually. And it's a really nasty weed, and it was everywhere. And I know, even from 50 years ago, I know this weed has really taken hold of this area. So even when my father had his big perennial beds here, he constantly battled that weed. and it was everywhere, and it was starting to spread to the neighbors, and I had a bit of a panic. So I've put in a lot of work just to clear everything out of here. An unbelievable amount of work. And one thing I'm especially proud of is that in this area, I think I've actually managed, knock on wood, to eradicate the weed, because the weed has like delicate, thick, white roots which penetrate like 3 feet or more down into the earth. And when you try to grab hold of them and pull them out, they break apart, and you only help the weed to spread even more. It spreads both by seeds and by runners, and those roots can lay in the ground forever. So it's near impossible to get rid of. But so what I did, I dug out this diamond-shaped pool. It's about 15 square meters, about 150 square feet. I dug down more than half a meter, so like 2 feet. So that means that I dug down and dug out about 7 cubic meters. That would be 70 cubic feet. More actually, because on top of all this there was a big mound of old grass, sod and stuff, both from here and from elsewhere. So I think I spent 2 months on and off, at least. While I was doing that, I sieved. I went through each little grain of soil in this area and plucked out every little fresh. There were as soon as you dig down, you find fresh roots from the weed, just lying there in wait. They keep forever. So I think I've managed to pull out every single little piece of root from the weeds. So that also took quite some time, and then of course everything had to. I had to get rid of much of it, all the contaminated soil, all the sod, all the debris. But I had a lot, as I said, 7 cubic meters, 70 cubic feet of cleansed, sandy soil. That's when I got the idea to build that raised bed over there, which I will talk about another time. So I transferred the soil from here to there. And then I was left with this big, just empty, gaping hole, which I filled with compost, peat for the acidity, and something that we in Sweden call barkmull, which is kind of finely grained bark. So it gives the soil structure, and it eventually degrades even more and provides some nutrients as well. So I think, I can't remember the proportions, but about maybe 1/4 to 1/5 peat, acid peat, and the rest about half of compost and this fine bark chippings. Not at all the things that you see on top here. That's a completely different story. And then on top of all that, I also put in an extra layer of dedicated rhododendron soil. And then I was ready. I was finished with this, I think, sometime in June, maybe a bit into July, beginning of July. Then I put a big tarpaulin, a big plastic drape across everything to keep weeds from coming in. And then I lay in wait to plant the rhododendron, because I didn't want to plant them. We had a very dry and hot summer, and the wonderful lady at the nursery, my nursery, said that I won't sell you any rhododendron until late August, because I want you to give them the best chance of surviving. So I won't allow you to plant them before early September. And then I asked her to make a plan for this area, and I will show you, of course, in greater detail. And she most graciously did, and she has helped me plan a lot of other beds as well, which I will show you later on. So if we move in a bit closer here, I hope you can see the diamond shape. Perhaps there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different plants in the first row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants in the second row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the third row, and then it gets a bit jumbled, but there aren't really straight lines anymore. But you can see there's a kind of a diamond shape here in the back, in the middle back, where the biggest rhododendron are. So the plan that my wonderful lady at the nursery came up with is one where we have maximum variety when it comes to colors, when it comes to height, when it comes to bloom time, and varieties and so on. And I will go through these. I haven't seen them in action yet. So we have rhododendrons, we have azaleas, we have some pieris japonica. I don't think we have any regular pieris. As I understand it, there is a European pieris, which doesn't look quite the same. And then we have a kalmia over there as well. There. Yeah, and as I said, the biggest one are in the back and in the middle, and then they get shorter as they near the edges. And some are evergreen, quite a lot actually, but not all. Yeah, so I will go through, I will show you the plan, and I will go through which varieties I have. So in the back here we have two Baden-Baden rhododendron, and their blooms are red. And then in the middle here, the big piece is rhododendron catawbiense Lee Darks Purple. Lee Darks Purple is this one. The ones on the sides, well, I don't really know. Sorry, excuse me. I don't really know when they will bloom, but this big one will bloom May to June. It will become about 2 meters, 6 feet. And these ones, I don't know really how big they will get, but they will get smaller. These two in front of the biggest one is rhododendron catawbiense Nova Sembla, and they will also become about 6 feet tall, maybe a bit bigger actually, and they will also bloom in May to June. And as you can see, these are red flowers as well. I will take away these tags once I see which ones survive and so forth. Yeah, the one was a lead. Let's see, a Nova Sembla, right? And the other is a English Roseum, which can vary in height between 4 to 7 feet, also blooming in May to June. And then on the sides we have an azalea luteum, coming up to about 3 feet, blooming in June, and Yakushimanum anushka on the other side. And I have 2 of these. I have another one over there, I think. And then here we have the it's not a calmia, it's a clethra, of course. I misspoke, a clethra. That's right. Okay. And then we have in the front we have Pieris japonica bonfire, 3 of those. We have some calmias, rubra, and they will bloom a bit earlier. The Pieris will bloom in April, May, and they will get about 3 feet high. The calmia will bloom later on, July, August, topping out at maybe 2-3 feet. And then we have some other rhododendrons. We have Dora amateis, 2 of those, 2 feet, blooming in May. We have some Japanese azaleas called Commensinum, 2 of those, also about 2 feet, blooming in May to June. What else? We have some more Novosemblas. We have some rhododendron knaphill, berry rose azalea, becoming about 4 feet tall, blooming in May to June. Then we have some azalea Klondike, and 2 dreamland. And then we have a flava rhododendron, Yakushimanum. The clethra I told you about, and then the remaining 2 are Fantastica, rhododendron Yakushimanum Fantastica, also about 3 feet. That's about it. Yeah. And now I'm looking at it, most of these bloomed in early summer, May to June. There's the clethra is blooming in August to September. There's some blooming in July, August into August. Yeah. And when I planted them, I gave them extra rhododendron soil. Then, as you can see, I've covered this with pretty expensive bark. That's why it's not completely covered, because it was so expensive. And the lady at the nursery has ordered me to give them special rhododendron fertilizer this spring, in April, May, I guess. Well, April, I guess. Yeah. And hopefully we have buds, that's for sure. It's really cold, it's unusually cold, so I really hope everything survives. And if this takes off, it could be just amazingly beautiful. I have some plants, I have some Weigelas in front here, which I really like, and some other stuff. But I hope they don't block the view from the house when this gets going. Now in hindsight, I could have built this up a bit more. And as you can see, I'm filling up with stone. You can't get enough of stone, I've noticed. The more you work with it, the more you want. So I can't have any lawn here because I can't reach it with the lawnmower. So I think it's better to just have stone. I will put more stone here and there. And this is another bed which I will talk about in another episode. and I have, you will see that I have a lot of stone in my garden. I will get much more. I'm inspired by Garden Hike, a wonderful YouTube channel. A man called Mike, I think, a professional landscaper for many years, living up northern plains of the US. He works a lot with stone, so I have some plans inspired by him. Well, anyway, that was the rhododendron bed. Part one of just naming and talking about the history of the making of the beds. And next time I will probably talk about this one, the raised conifer bed. As I said, they kind of go together, because in making this I also started making that. But that will be next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.